More than 1 in 3 American workers find themselves trapped, living paycheck to paycheck, no matter their income. Imagine covering essentials like groceries, healthcare, rent, or a mortgage, and finding just $200 left at the end of the month. That small sum sparks a big question. Should it go toward paying down debt or investing in the stock market to build wealth for the future? This choice feels like standing at a crossroads, with each path promising a different financial destiny. The decision is not simple, but a powerful rule of thumb, centered on a single number, can guide the way. This documentary dives into the math, the risks, and the real-world implications to help anyone make sense of this financial dilemma. The number to know is 7. 7% serves as the tipping point for deciding whether to pay down debt or invest. Experts point to this figure because it reflects the average growth rate of a conservative investment, like an index fund tracking the S&P 500, when adjusted for inflation. If the interest rate on debt falls below 7%, investing often yields a better return over time. If the interest rate exceeds 7%, paying off debt becomes the smarter move, as the cost of borrowing outpaces potential investment gains. This rule is not rigid. Some suggest 5 or 6% depending on factors like age or retirement goals, but 7% offers a balanced starting point. To understand why, let's explore real scenarios that show this rule in action. Picture a recent college graduate with $10,000 in federal student loans, carrying an interest rate of 5%, which aligns with the average for undergraduate loans over the past decade. Each month, this graduate must make a minimum payment of $150, alongside other expenses like rent and groceries. With only $200 left after essentials, the question looms: pay extra on the loan or invest? The math reveals a clear picture. Sticking to the minimum payment stretches the debt over 6.5 years, adding about $1,700 in interest on top of the original $10,000. That's a slow, costly grind. Now, consider adding the extra $200 to the monthly payment. The debt vanishes in just 2.5 years, with total interest dropping to under $700. This approach saves $1,000 in interest compared to the minimum payment plan. But what happens if the graduate invests that $200 monthly instead? By putting it into an index fund tracking the S&P 500, which historically averages a 7% return after inflation, the investment grows to about $4,000 over those 6.5 years. Subtract the $1,700 in interest accrued on the debt, and the net gain is roughly $2,400. Compare that to the $1,000 saved by paying off the debt faster, and investing comes out ahead by $1,400. For debts with interest rates below 7%, like many student loans or mortgages, the stock market's growth potential often outshines the cost of carrying the. Now, imagine a different situation. A young professional takes out a $10,000 subprime auto loan with a 13% interest rate, common for those with below-average credit scores. The minimum payment barely chips away at the principal, dragging the debt out over nearly 10 years and piling on $7,800 in interest. That's a heavy burden for a car that loses value every year. If this professional applies the extra $200 monthly toward the loan, it's gone in just under 3 years, with interest costs slashed to about $2,000. This saves $5,800 compared to the minimum payment approach, a massive win. What if they invest the $200 monthly instead? Over 10 years, at a conservative 7% return, the investment grows to around $10,000. Sounds promising, but subtract the $7,800 in interest the debt racked up, and the net gain shrinks to just $2,400. Paying off the high-interest debt saves more than twice as much, $5,800 versus $2,400. When debt carries an interest rate above 7%, like many subprime loans or credit cards, the cost of borrowing can crush the returns from investing. These scenarios reveal a core truth. The side with the higher rate of return, whether it's the interest saved by paying debt or the growth earned by investing, deserves the extra cash. Interest rates act like gravity in the financial world, pulling money toward the path of greatest impact. Mortgages, the largest source of debt in the United States, often carry fixed interest rates below 7%, making them prime candidates for minimum payments while investing elsewhere. Student loans, the second largest debt category, also frequently fall below this threshold, especially for undergraduates. But credit card debt is a different beast. Interest rates on credit cards have climbed above 20% in recent years, and for those with lower credit scores, they can soar even higher. Beating a 20% return in the stock market consistently is a tall order, even for seasoned investors. The math screams. Prioritize high-interest debt. Credit card debt demands special attention because of its punishing costs. A federal law passed in 2009 forces credit card companies to get real with customers. Every statement now shows two key pieces of information: how long it takes to pay off the balance with minimum payments and the total interest incurred, plus what monthly payment clears the debt in 3 years and how much interest that saves. Imagine a credit card balance of $10,000 at a 20% interest rate. Minimum payments could stretch repayment over decades, with interest costs ballooning to thousands more than the original debt. Paying it off in 3 years with higher payments saves a fortune. For anyone juggling credit card debt, these statements are a wake-up call, urging action over inertia. Before diving into debt repayment or investing, one step comes first: building an emergency fund. Financial planners stress this as a non-negotiable foundation. A minimum of $1,000 should sit ready to cover unexpected expenses, a car repair, a medical bill, or a sudden job loss. Ideally, this fund grows to cover 3 to 6 months of living expenses, offering a true safety net. Without it, a single crisis can derail plans, forcing reliance on high-interest credit cards or derailing investment goals. This fund isn't flashy, but it's the bedrock of financial stability, ensuring neither debt nor market dips catch anyone off guard. Investing isn't a guaranteed win. The S&P 500's 7% average return hides wild swings. Some years soar, others crash. For every investor celebrating gains, another might face losses that disrupt their plans. This risk looms large for those nearing retirement or with tight budgets, where a market downturn could sting. Index funds, like those tracking the S&P 500, offer a hands-off, lower risk way to invest compared to picking individual stocks, but they're not bulletproof. Someone prioritizing stability over potential gains might lean toward paying off debt, even if the interest rate falls below 7%. Risk tolerance shapes the decision as much as math does. The 7% rule is a guide, not gospel. Life throws curveballs, job changes, family needs, or unexpected opportunities that complicate the math. Mortgages and student loans, with their lower rates, often make sense to carry while investing, but high-interest debts like credit cards demand aggressive repayment. The emergency fund anchors everything, protecting against surprises. And personal comfort with risk matters. Someone who sleeps better knowing their debt is shrinking might choose to pay it down over chasing market returns, even if the numbers favor investing. Financial decisions blend logic with emotion, and both deserve a voice. For those leaning toward investing, index funds stand out as a practical choice. They track broad market indices, like the S&P 500, which has delivered about 7% annual growth over decades, adjusted for inflation. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme but a steady, long-term strategy. Platforms like Robinhood Gold, for example, offer tools to make investing accessible, with features like 4% annual percentage yield on uninvested cash, over 9 times the national savings average, and a 3% match on IRA contributions. These perks can boost returns, but they come with a $5 monthly subscription. The key is consistency. Investing $200 monthly, even in small increments, compounds over time, turning modest sums into meaningful wealth. Balancing debt and investing isn't just about numbers, it's about building a future. More than 1 in 3 Americans live paycheck to paycheck, a statistic that underscores the urgency of making every dollar count. The 7% rule offers clarity, but it's the starting point, not the finish line. High-interest debts, like credit cards, can trap people in a cycle of growing costs, while low-interest debts, like mortgages, leave room to grow wealth through investing. An emergency fund provides security, and understanding personal risk tolerance keeps decisions grounded. Every choice shapes the path to financial freedom. Standing at the crossroads of paying debt or investing, the decision hinges on interest rates, risk, and personal priorities. The 7% rule lights the way. Below it, investing often wins. Above it, paying debt takes priority. But numbers alone don't tell the whole story. An emergency fund guards against life's surprises, and comfort with risk guides the heart of the choice. Whether tackling a student loan, a credit card balance, or a mortgage, or planting seeds in the stock market, each step moves someone closer to financial independence. The key is to start. $200 a month can change everything, one calculated move at a time.